Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's talk. It's Tuesday, July 23rd, and I just wanted to speak on the idea of blind allegiance. I see that humanity is really at a critical point of remembering our soul, remembering our power, really connecting deeply within, as so many of us have been buried alive for lifetimes, for generations. We've really been following something outside of ourselves for thousands and thousands of years. This has been really steeped into the culture, into the programming, into our relationship dynamics. It affects the individual, it affects the collective, it affects the micro, it affects the macro. And we really are at this crux, giving us opportunities to be able to connect more within. So I really wanted to talk about blind allegiance and the dangers of blind allegiance. So, what is blind allegiance? Blind allegiance is following something no matter what. Having a devout allegiance to a thing outside of yourself no matter what it is, no matter what it does, no matter what it stands for, having this undying faith and allegiance and commitment to this thing. So the dangers of that, whether that be your parents, whether that be a partner, whether that be a friend, whether that be a sports team, whether that be is a celebrity, whether that's a political figure, whether that's your preacher, your teacher, it doesn't matter. It works in every setting. When you have blind allegiance to something, you're not going to be able to critically think. When we lose the ability, or we start losing the ability to critically think, we no longer are growing. We're not growing as an individual, and we're not growing as a collective. Because what we're saying is, hey, I'm going to give you over the reins to my chariot. If you were supposed to sit in the driver's seat of your chariot, if you're the charioteer and you've got reins and you've got two horses and they're taking you places, when you have blind allegiance to something, you're giving them the reins. You're giving them your power. You're giving them your choices. You're giving them your energy, no matter who it is: teacher, preacher, political figure, parents, it doesn't matter. And it's important to always remember that our power comes from within. Our power comes from deep within our soul. And when we give our power away, we no longer have access to it. The more we do this, the more challenging it's going to be to get it back. The more you give your reins over, the more you pledge blind allegiance to something, the less and less and less power you will have, and the more challenging it's going to be to get it back. When we have blind allegiance to something, we are no longer problem solving. We are asking something outside of ourselves to fix everything, keeping us in a victim mentality. When we're in this, every one of us has been victimized at some point of our life. Every single one of us has gone through some type of trauma. Every one of us has experienced what it feels like to be a victim at some point of our existence. However, that doesn't mean that we remain there. We don't stay in that victimhood and that victim mentality forever, because that just says, oh, I have to be here and I can never change from here. I like if you were born into a family of abuse, saying that I'm going to constantly be abused. If you're born into a family that was really poor, saying I'm always going to be poor. You don't have to remain there. And when we remain in victimhood, we're always giving our power over to something else, and we're always searching for a savior. We're always looking outside of ourselves for something else to save us, for something else to have the answers, for something else to fix all the problems. And usually there's a savior, and usually there's like a villain or a devil or a bad thing. It's really steeped in major book religion. So this idea of like there's a savior, there's something that's going to save you, and there's something that's going to destroy you. And this is where the inner work comes in. This all is about inner conflict. When we have inner conflict, we've got massive cognitive dissonance. When you've got all these fractal parts, because trauma fractals the consciousness, trauma fractals the self. We've got all these different parts inside of us. We've got the crying baby, we've got the angsty teenager, we've got the grown adult, we've got the part that wants this, the part that wants that. And some of these parts are trying to go in all these different directions. This is why it's so important to accept all of you and harmonize and acknowledge and listen to all the parts, not say, I only accept the parts that are good and I reject all that's bad. That's just going to keep you in an internal conflict. A lot of this being very unconscious. And when we have all this internal conflict, all these fractal parts that are not knowing how to coexist, we've got all this cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance creates so much confusion. And when we are confused and we are lost, we are easily controlled and easily manipulated. It's so essential for us to be able to have discourse and dialogue with the ones that we disagree with. If you sit in your echo chamber getting confirmation that you're good, you're good, you're good, all we're doing is virtue signaling and nothing's changing and nothing is growing. It's very dangerous to pledge a blind allegiance to something, because what it will do, it will make you completely blind to any of the things that don't resonate with the virtue. It will make you not be able to see, even if it's right in front of you, all the things that maybe don't align with your values, because it is not in congruence with this fantastical thing that you've created. You're living in a fantasy world. And the more we have blind allegiance, the more you're just yes, you're the one, I'm going to support you no matter what. It doesn't matter. No matter who, I'm going to support it. No matter what, I'm going to support it. No matter what it does, no matter what it says, I'm going to support it. Say if it's your parents, for example, no matter what they do to me, no matter how bad they make me feel, no matter how many times they hurt me, I'm always going to pledge my allegiance to them, because I am dying for their acceptance. Because I would rather have my parents' acceptance than fully accept myself. You see how you've just given all your power away over to something else, someone else. And when we do this, when we give our power away, when we don't critically think, we let ourselves sink more and more and more into lack. We devalue ourselves, we sink into lack, and we give our power out. It's like we are tapping our energy and just draining it out to something else. We're just draining our energy out. We're draining our energy out. We're draining our power out. We're draining our worth out. We're draining it out, and something else is growing. We're giving our nutrients, we're giving our fuel over to something else, and that will grow and that will suck it up, So it'd be the same idea as if you threw your debit card out on the street and just was have a field day, drain my account. It's the same idea. Our accounts are being drained. Our energy is being drained. Our power is being drained. And a lot of people are doing this willingly. They're just letting it happen. And this is really, really dangerous, because we are at such a time where we're here to really grow. We're here to evolve. We're here to remember ourselves on such a deep soul level, knowing that you existed before this incarnation. You came in with a magic, with a gift, with a brilliance, and you're not going to be able to get that if you're constantly giving away your power, if you're constantly in blind allegiance to something else. What that says is no matter what you do, I'm going to accept it. No matter what you do, I'm going to support it. No matter what you do, I'm going to be devout to you. This is the idea of the wrathful God, or I'm always in complete devout alliance with my parents, because they're my elders, so no matter what they do, I'm going to be in alignment to them. And we're going to have some challenging conversations. This is how we grow. This is how we evolve. This is how we problem solve. We've been looking outside of ourselves for too long for the solutions. We're waiting for something else or someone else to fix it. Maybe if I get all the money, I will finally feel happy. Maybe if I meet the love of my life, I'll finally feel whole. Maybe if I like do XYZ, it'll finally be okay. Maybe if we finally get this one candidate, like everything's going to go away. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because everything starts in here. Nothing is coming to save any one of us because that's not the journey. The journey is us remembering ourselves completely, and you're not going to remember yourself through someone else. People may be able to mirror parts back to you, but no one else can do that for you. If you're constantly searching for a savior, if you're in blind allegiance to something else, you're just giving the reins of your chariot over and over and over, giving them over, and you're no longer in control of your life. You're no longer in control of your choices. You're no longer in control of your power. You're just under an illusion and a delusion that you are. You're actually not. And I'll say it again, the more that you do this, the more challenging it's going to be to get it back. It's like we're slipping and slipping and slipping into this place of disempowerment. It's really going to disempower us. And I wanted to talk a little bit of how like trauma and manipulation, narcissism, kind of all of these words, they kind of have three parts. This kind of goes into the black, red, white magic. I think there's an illusion that white magic is inherently good. It's not. It's just a type. So we've got active, passive, and neutral making up the triangle: white magic, black magic, and red magic. And so for the active part, I think it's like, I'll give the example of like a family that you grew up in a family. I'll give the example of my family. Growing up with parents who beat you, who scream at you, who tell you you're garbage, sexually molest you. Like, this is the family I grew up in. It was very active abuse versus passive abuse, or passive manipulation, or passive narcissism comes from family dynamics where it's like under the surface. It's maybe more challenging to detect. It's more interwoven into the family dynamics, but you're constantly being put down. You're constantly being othered. You're never really encouraged to be in your power. You're always like the black sheep. That's more passive. And then the neutral is like all of those unconscious programmings running in the background. So they're all working together. And, we can see this outwardly too. It's like certain things are blatant. Some things are more passive. And honestly, the passive is more challenging and it's more detrimental because it takes longer sometimes for it to come to the surface and actually realize what's happening. A lot of us are being siphoned. Like our energy is being fucking siphoned off of us, and eventually like we're gonna wither away. It's so mandatory right now that we reclaim our power and remember that your inherent value and worth has nothing to do with what other people think. It has nothing to do with what other people say or believe. It has nothing to do with what you have. It has nothing to do with what you've done. It has nothing to do with anything. Your soul is inherently valuable. The end. That's the full statement, period, full stop. It's inherently valuable. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to earn your value. Stop trying to make other people see you. Stop trying to make other people believe in you. Stop trying to make other people do anything, because that's just giving your power away. So this blind allegiance, it's a big topic, and I really see that it's going to create a lot of damage, and we're not going to know how to solve problems. The longer we are in blind allegiance to whatever we're in blind allegiance to, whether it's a political figure, whether it's your parents, whether it's your partner, whatever, got to see below the surface. We're not going to be able to solve problems, and problem solving is essential. Critical thinking and problem solving is essential to our growth and our well-being and our future. And each one of us has a piece. Each one of us has a piece. We have to stop giving our power over to the thing that like we're trying to dismantle. All the power lies within us. All the power has always lied within us. Our souls are so freaking powerful beyond belief. We've just forgotten. We have been in an extended amnesia for thousands of years, buried with trauma, buried with unprocessed emotions, and then controlled by them. So the real work is in. You want to go out, you got to go in. You want to go up, you got to go down. It's going to be important to not turn away from it. Have those conversations that you need to have, no matter how uncomfortable they are, and look into something more. Don't just say, like, I will like support you no matter what. This idea of the savior and of the boogeyman, it's created to divide us internally and externally, and we need to come together in a harmony. You have to be harmonized inside in order to dismantle the cognitive dissonance. In order to dismantle the cognitive dissonance, we have to have internal harmony and external harmony. Not everybody's going to agree with you. That's not how things work. If everyone always agrees with you all the time, you're never gonna grow. You're always gonna stay the same. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to grow. We're here to shift. We're here to change. We're here to create a new world. Us, we're creating it. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. We've got a little astro insight. The sun just went into the Cancer constellation, into the crab, into the scarab. It's been seen as all. And this is a powerful time. This is a smaller constellation. The sun will be in there a smaller time before we go to the Lion's Gate and into Leo. This is a powerful time of resurrection, of rebirth, of awakening that inner consciousness in order to remember our truth. It's connecting us into that like exterior shell and that like watery inside, remembering that you're going to have to break down those barriers within yourself in order to get to more of the truth, more of the realness, more of the authenticity, more of the integrity. It's going to cause us to break down our own barriers between ourselves. You know, if you're letting yourself be in a blind allegiance with something, you're probably not processing those really deep feelings that have been there probably since childhood and beyond, past lives more. So let this time of the sun traveling through the crab allow you to rebirth, allow you to resurrect the parts of you that have been sleeping for thousands of years. It's time for them to wake up. The program needs to be disrupted. We cannot keep just tuning in and doing as we've been told. We cannot comply for forever. We need to disrupt the programming. We need to wake up on such a deep core level. I'm sending all of y'all so much love and blessings out there. I know this journey can be freaking intense sometimes. We've got so much Plutonian energy going on. If you are needing any support, I am accepting some new one-on-one clients. I'll put my link below. If you liked this, if you want to hear more from me, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And yeah, blessings and love to everyone out there. And I hope you have a good day. Okay, bye.